Well, it is a big day for second PU students today. The Karnataka Examination Authority has announced the results of CET 2015. The students are offered admission in professional colleges based on their ranks in CET exams. And well, we have few of the NATA toppers right here in our studio. So you can talk to these toppers, find out what their secret to success really is. You can call in News 9 on 080-2236-0303 or 04, or you can SMS us at 99809-45138. Well, a big congratulations to all of you. Let me quickly introduce you all to them. First, we have Vandana, who is ranked number 3 in NATA. We have Mrinalini, who is ranked 5 in NATA. We also have Adas Madhuri, who has secured rank 11. We have Harshita, who has managed to secure rank 34, and Tarunya, who has managed to get rank 43. Thank you all so much for joining us in our studios. First of all, I'll ask each of you all that question. Vandana, how did you manage to get rank number 3?
You basically I studied from the beginning of the year till the end, and I wrote NATA in first year, and the score is valid for 2 years.
Okay.
So I prepared for board exams in the second year, and Kavya ma'am helped me a lot from design venue, and my parents are supportive throughout.
Okay, so you were very focused in what you wanted. So you had prepared over the last 1 year. So why did you write NATA 1 year before your board exams?
So that it gives me an entire year to prepare for the board exams. They consider both the NATA score as well as the board exam score, board exam marks, and they give you a CET rank. So I gave 1 year for both. Okay. And the most important thing is, you need to, this is for everybody, you need to really know what you want to do. You know, don't do engineering or medical because those are the mainstream subjects and your parents say that. Just really find your passion and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is something, it is a message that goes all out to everyone there. Mrinalini, your secret to success, how did you manage to get rank number 5? How is that even possible? How do people get rank number 5?
Well, actually, the thing about NATA is it's a very different exam. It's not an exam in which you learn things by heart and, you know, give it out. So in this exam, it's actually checking your aptitude. So what you have to do is, especially when it comes to the drawing exam, you need to have a bit of prerequisite in drawing skills. So if you see most of the people who attempt the exam, they do have a certain level of aesthetic skill. So you have to be good at art in some ways. And after that, most people who have done well have gone to well-renowned institutes. Design Venue was a great institute. They really helped us. And they help you improve on this skill set and get your basics done and go even further, get your perspectives right, your proportions right, which is so important for what they're looking for in the exam. So again, it comes to the main thing that if you want to do well, you have to focus on what's important. So your institute has to, help you out with that, tell you exactly what you need to focus on instead of, trying to go on a completely, on a rampant thing that I have to learn everything. It doesn't work like that. You need to focus on what's important.
Okay, so what did you really focus on? You said that you got in touch with your very basics, and you also highlighted how NATA is different from probably the CET for engineering as well as medical. So how do you go about preparing for it? If it's about aptitude, you don't know what questions are going to be there. So how do you go about preparing for it?
True. So for the drawing exam, what we did was, you need to have a proper sense of perspective and proportion. So that mainly comes through practice and through aesthetic sensitivity. Basically, when you go out, you look at things, you need to understand, you need to perceive how things are, how things appear in the outside world. For example, a book is small compared to a human, or a ball is small compared to a child. So you need to have that basic understanding so that when you render it onto paper, that realistic aspect of what things look like shows out. And when it comes to the aptitude, you have different sections. You have mathematics, you have sequences, you have plans and elevations, and all of that. Also, there are many online websites, online sources where you get questions in which you can train your brain to think in a certain way, to perceive the important aspects and find out what you're supposed to be focusing on. It appears confusing, the questions appear confusing at first, but then you need to look for where the answer will be.
Okay. So now, Madhuri, you tell us what really was your secret? How did you go about preparing for architecture? Because it's something different. It's not like engineering or medical. It's something that you have to have a certain aesthetic sense to. You need to know a little bit of art as well, and you need to have an aptitude for it. More importantly, you cannot mug up and you can't regurgitate on the paper. So how did you go about it?
I agree with both of them that you need basics. Basically, you need aesthetic sensitivity, and then there are two parts of in the NATA test. One is the drawing, and the other is like the aptitude. You can always improve on the aptitude, but for the drawing part, I was always interested in art. Ever since I was a kid, I was into art. So from the past few months, I've been focusing only on NATA, and I fine-tune my drawing skills. And also the observation skills, I think, is also very important, because they ask you questions like, if you were in a draw, what you would see if you were in a jewelry store. So you would have to actually notice how it would be, like the proportions, as she said, how the lighting would be, or anything like that. You have to be basically very observant, and yeah.
Okay, so did you also write your NATA a year back, or
No.
You prepared this year?
Yeah, I wrote it this May.
Okay, so you wrote your boards as well as NATA together. So how did you go about preparing for both of it?
They're completely different things, but I guess you can manage it. But her strategy was a good one, preparing earlier.
Okay, that's a lesson to the future students. Try to keep your NATA and your board exams separate so that you have more time to prepare. You have a more clearer perspective as to what is the marks that you should be aiming at. Harshita, your tip to the budding architects out there?
Observation, hard work. I think these are like the two main things. You need to have like a certain set of skills, that's obvious, because I was interested in drawing ever since I was in 5th or something. So since then I've been drawing, going to competitions. You need to have a lot of exposure also, and yeah, basically practice is what I've been doing since 2 years actually. Since my 10th got over, in the holidays I've started practicing for this exam. And this is the only thing.
Since your 10th got over, you've been practicing. Okay.
I mean, I haven't thought of another exam at all. Like, I had just decided that NATA is the only thing I'm going to do, and if I get through, yes, or else try again, but this is the only thing, so.
Wow, you were focused since you were in 10th. Okay.
Yeah.
That is something. That speaks something about you.
I mean, it was decided that I was going to be doing this, so I didn't even think of anything else. So.
Okay, that's brilliant, but very few students really have that opportunity of being decisive on what they want.
Because you also, I mean, you need support, because everybody says, oh, you're not writing CET, what are you going to do and everything, but this is also an exam, and it needs to be given equal importance.
This is also competitive. So, do you have any idea how many people attempted NATA this year?
I think around 10,000 something, I don't know.
Okay, but it's a national level exam.
Yeah.
Okay, across the country, how many?
It's a national level exam with state-wise rankings.
Okay.
So depending on your state, you get the ranking which allows you to get into colleges within your state. So if you're applying abroad, if you're applying to colleges in other states, those colleges will have another specific ranking system for their own their own requirements. So you submit your scores all over again to them, and they'll give you a separate ranking. So there's no proper all India ranking system. It's a state-wise ranking system, but the exam is conducted all over the country.
Okay, so in Karnataka, approximately 10,000 people.
Approximately 19,000 people had written it, but about 2,300 people have qualified. Like, you have to get a score of
80.
Yeah, 40%.
So can we say that out of the 19,000 people, she stands 3, she stands 5? Oh wow, I'm sitting in amidst some of the biggest brains of the city, I guess. Tarunya, how did you go about preparing for the exam?
I just followed all the tips given by my teacher, Kavya ma'am. They were really very dedicated and focused us in a very right way. They never confused us. They were very good. And basically, you should have some basic skills. You should always think out of the box. You need to be extremely different. That's what is very important in this exam. And you should observe everything. Like, they might ask you to draw an Oreo biscuit, which you eat daily, but nobody have, like, they wouldn't have noticed how it looks.
Okay.
So, like, such small details will bring you up. And as she said, practice, and you should be good at drawing, and you should practice. Like, I think, yeah, nothing more is what you can be perfect with practices.
And especially the main thing with aesthetic sensitivity is you need to make your composition look as interesting as possible. So if they, if they ask you a question about a living room, you add in more interesting elements, add in more objects which make the scene dynamic. So that's what grabs the attention of the viewer and makes them feel like, this is really something. Like it's a very simple thing to ask someone to draw a living room. How can you grab the viewer's attention with your art rendering?
Okay, show us some of your drawings. I see you have your books here with you all. Show us some of your drawings. Yeah, Tarunya, you can show that up maybe. What is that? If you can just describe it.
This is like a baby. The question is, imagine you're a baby in a cradle and your mom is giving you a toy to play.
Okay, so this question was given to you by your teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
All these are previous year questions what my seniors have got. She's collected all of them and given. Because every year each person gets a different question.
Okay, so this is...
imagine you're a baby in a cradle and your mother is giving you a toy to play with.
Okay. So that is okay. Imagining you're the baby, you can see your feet, and you can see the mother handing out the toy there, and it is a room. It has the cradle has some toys hanging from above. There's a lot of attention to detail. Is what you should be looking at. Yes, Harshita, if you can show us your drawing and tell us what exactly is
Yeah,
it.
this is actually, it says a wizard, you're a wizard flying over a city. So, usually what people do is draw a city. So, I decided to change the scene. I made it a night view. And so, actually, these are all like little buildings here.
Is that India?
And I don't know. It's just my imagination.
Okay.
And then this is like a little road, and this is me, like the wizard and my stick. So, yeah, I'm like sitting on the broom and I'm like flying over my city.
That's a beautiful drawing. So all this, you didn't take any reference from any picture, nothing?
Of course, I googled skyline on Google. Google.
Yeah, hold it up. Yeah. Let's show it. Okay, go on.
So I just googled a lot. Google is like very important. Google and YouTube are extremely important for us because it's a lot of help. Like Google, I always Google images 24/7. Like any topic, first thing I do is Google it. So you get more ideas. And YouTube, it helps you in like what techniques to use to bring a certain effect in your drawing. Those are like the two important things you need to have.
Okay, so how long did this drawing really take you? Because we can see that there are numerous buildings, numerous kinds of buildings, little details that you have sketched out, right from the road to the trees to the lights, everything. How much time did it really take you?
It's supposed to take an hour, but it took me like 10 minutes or something more.
This took you 10 minutes?
Like an hour and 10 minutes.
An hour and 10 minutes, okay. So it's supposed to take an hour, but it's a beautiful drawing. Okay, you show us, Madhuri, what's your drawing all about? Just hold it up so that our viewers can also see. Just explain.
Yeah, this question was supposed to be you're a patient in a dentist's office, a dentist's room, and draw what you see. This is what I had done.
Okay, so you can see your own legs, and then there's a dentist, a very pretty dentist, and you can the entire dentist clinic has been drawn with each and every detail, including posters of the teeth. Well, a beautiful drawing there. And how much time did this take you?
About an hour.
About an hour, okay.
It's not just enough if you're Googling images, like it helps a lot, but I think even after Googling images, we still have to think a lot because
we should be able to draw it.
We can't copy anything.
You have imagination and exposure to that. Like, if you read books, you have that imagery in your mind. That's another aspect. You need to have that sense of being able to imagine a particular scene that you may never have seen in your life.
Yes.
This is basically a creative exam, so everyone's trying to think of ways to do the same picture differently.
Okay, unlike engineering in medical and many other subjects which people who do not have the aptitude for also can do, architecture is not like that. NATA is not like that. You need to have that interest, you need to have that aptitude and that imagination to work about it. Well, just show us your drawing, Mrinalini.
This here.
Okay.
The question is, you're looking through a keyhole and you can see a living room. So as you can see, I've sort of created the scene of a murder that's going on. And there's people have been gambling, and there are drinks that are spilled. There's someone who's been murdered on the floor. So in this sense, there's something that's going on in the living room.
So this was not part of the question. That was your own imagination.
That was my own imagination. So they just ask you, they just say that you're looking through the keyhole, you see a living room. So now how are you going to make the viewer interested in this living room? When you make it a dynamic image, something's going on. There's mystery of, there's the mystery of who is this person who is committing the murder, why is it happening? And what is the the identity of the people that's going on? There's the weather in the background. It's raining. That also creates some atmosphere in the picture. So those kind of aspects you need to include in your drawing.
Okay. So Vandana, you do not have your books, but if you can just tell us, okay, so if you're given draw a newsroom, what would you really draw?
I would draw something similar to this. I would have a reporter, a table probably with sheets, a mic, and then a screen behind her, many cameras, lightings, and carpeted floors, logos, a very interesting logo of whatever TV channel, and yeah.
It was actually a similar question. It said you're a news reporter and you're looking into the living room. So you're in the TV and through the TV you actually see the living room of a house and you see a bedroom on the side and there is a family sitting there and watching you. So draw what you see.
Okay, so you have to draw something like The Simpsons end plate where a family is sitting and watching television. Okay, so it seems extremely interesting and very, very tough. It's not at all easy. Taranu, you want to show another picture?
This question is like you're a wicket keeper standing behind the stumps, and you're a fast bowler is about to bowl.
Okay.
It's like here main thing is your human proportion. Like when you're sitting and watching a cricketer, nobody would have imagined such a thing. Like you would go to a cricket match and watch the match, but you would never think, oh, if I would be there, how would it look?
Right.
Like that's the difference.
So even the proportions matter.
Yeah, it matters a lot.
And you need to make your drawing such that, when somebody looks at it, they want to keep looking at it. They notice smaller, finer details, and that grabs their attention.
Well, certainly you all have succeeded in that. I'm just looking at the pictures and trying to access finer details. So it seems very difficult, but how did your parents really react when you all said that you all want to go and do NATA, you all want to do architecture and not engineering or medical or any other profession that is more known than architecture is? How did your parents really
Both my
react?
parents are doctors, so when I said them I wanted to do architecture, they were surprised, but they thought it suited my aptitude. They were very, very supportive throughout, and they encouraged me a lot, and they helped me throughout it a lot.
Okay, so
I think my parents were the one who gave me the idea to do architecture.
Oh, really? Because
I had never got an idea, okay, I'll be an architect. But then they were the one who guided me that I think you should do architecture. My father is an architect and he was very helpful. My parents were really helpful. They just got me everything I wanted.
That's
They were very
brilliant.
supportive.
That's brilliant, and it's a message out there to all parents. So, Harshita, you decided when you were in 10th that you wanted to do architecture.
Yeah.
What was your parents' reaction?
My parents were like ready. They said choose what you want to do and we're okay with it, because not everybody is actually, because see, everybody looks at only engineering and doctor. Like nobody even thinks that okay, there are other fields where people can go and do something. So as soon as I said architecture, I mean my parents knew that I drew from before, so they knew I had the interest. So they had like no problem. They were totally interested and supportive, and yeah, they did everything they could possibly do to let me do
Okay,
architecture.
so none of your parents, no one opposed.
It wasn't easy, but
Okay, for you it was difficult.
it wasn't difficult, but it wasn't easy either. But then I guess
Okay,
that
so what did they say when you said? I mean, now you've got the 11th rank, so they must be mighty proud. So what did they say now? What did they say back then?
they're very happy.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll agree now.
They have to. You got the 11th rank. But when you first said that you wanted to do architecture, what was the immediate reaction to it?
The thing about architecture is that it does not pay as much as engineering or medical or other popular fields. So it was totally okay for them. Yeah, in India, it was totally okay for them to worry.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I guess if you're good, you can come up in any field. So
Actually, one thing that's important for students who are deciding what they want to do later in life is you need to understand what you're good at beforehand. So what my parents did was there are several websites. One of them was varsityconnections.com, and you have an aptitude test where you can check what your strengths are. So my strengths lay in spatial recognition and, you know, things that involved aesthetic sensitivity. So at that point, and also, you know, like many other people who have attempted the exam, I had a passion for art for a very long time. So at that point, it was, you know, a convincing factor telling my parents that it's better for me to opt for something that involves my aesthetic capacity, because I wouldn't be able to do well in another field. So even if you're getting into a field that appears to give you a good job, it's not necessary if you're not going to enjoy it and do well in it.
Absolutely.
So after that, you know, once I joined the course, by and by, you watch yourself grow because you start practicing more. And as I started showing my parents the drawings that I was doing and they saw them getting better and better, they realized that, you know, this was actually a very good option, and that, you know, if you really work towards it, you will do well if you have a passion for it.
Okay, if you have a passion for anything, any field,
Yeah,
you will
any field.
excel in it. Okay, now certainly the party has begun for you all. Of course, it's a lot of hard work in the years to come now, but you have crossed the first hurdle successfully. So what really are the celebrations like? What are the colleges that you're looking forward to do? And what is it that you really want to do in architecture? I mean, do you have a dream? Do you want to build a certain kind of a structure? What is it that you really want to do? Work towards better infrastructure for the city or for the country? What do you want to do?
I actually want to get into RV first of all, and then I want to do something like that helps the lower class. I want to do something like low cost development and houses for the poor probably, and yeah, and something different basically, not just building houses or anything.
Okay, so cheap and best houses.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you want to focus on, something that's economical,
as well as
good quality
Yes.
ones. Mrinalini, what is it that
Yeah, I also want to join RB College of Architecture. It's very well renowned, not just in Karnataka. In Karnataka, it's the first, and in the whole country, it's also ranked quite high. As for my passion for the subject itself, the reason I chose architecture is because I wanted to see a manifestation of my creativity, which is, you know, architecture is one field that really gives you that. You have a plan which is, you know, it's just a concept, it's an idea on paper, and you get to see your creation come up before
materialize
you.
and
Exactly.
it becoming a real thing.
Yeah, so that's the best part about this field, that it allows your creation to become something real, and it's a magical feeling. And also I would really like to focus on, as she said, economical and also sustainable architecture, which keeps in mind the environment and makes it more organic, blends in with the environment, and, you know, where the beauty lies in nature itself.
Brilliant idea there. Go green with your creations. Madhuri?
Green architecture is soon catching up, and it's the latest fad. So I think even I'd like to do something in green architecture.
Okay. And any other dream that you would want to pursue? Something that you've imagined of creating, you know, during your preparations for NATA?
A lot of stuff, but they're probably too crazy for now.
No, but we'd like to hear one of your crazy ideas. Come on.
No, like they're mostly like visual, so I cannot explain it.
Okay, fine.
But
Okay.
after 5 years, after the course of 5 years, after we'll actually learn how structures go and the physics and the math behind it, we'll probably, like, you know, it'll probably be a little constrained, but.
Okay, so Harshita,
I actually have like in mind a few favorite architects.
I'm not surprised. You decided in 10th standard.
Yeah, there is one called Norman Foster. Like, I just love the way he designs buildings, as well as another person called as Zaha Hadid. So her designs are so brilliant. I mean, it's so crazy, and you can't just stop looking at it. So I've always thought of doing something extremely different.
Okay.
And yeah, green architecture has always been like a part of the plan. So
Okay, green architecture as well. Everyone wants to go green, so certainly the world is in better hands in the future. Tarunya?
As I've already told, I've seen my dad constructing houses to many people. You know, when we go for the opening ceremony, it's the happiness we see in them. I think that's what I would want at the end of the day. Happiness in people because of me.
Okay.
Like, we'll do anything, but you should have people to support you. And that gives like a lot more than what you did. Like what you have scored now, I think wouldn't matter then to see their happiness, what I have given to them.
Okay,
Like
so-
I want to build wonderful houses and make them very happy.
Okay, some inspirational words there coming in from these young students. They have managed to get some fabulous ranks, and now their party begins, and so does the hard work. So we'll wish them all the very best right here from News 9. So we hope that you go out there, make your dreams come true, excel in whatever you're doing, and we'll see some fabulous buildings from you all in the future, hopefully. Thank you all so much for joining us in our studios. Up next, News and Updates will continue. Stay tuned.